The 715th edition of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with promo code MMA SGPN to get a 50% deposit bonus of up to $1,000. And we're also brought to you by Rebet, a new sports book available in 45 states. Download Rebet in your app store and use promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit match of up to $100. And finally, we're brought to you by Rhythm. Start crushing the college football and NFL seasons with Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
Howdy-ho, degenerinos. Welcome to the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Episode 715 is going out to, I already forget who it's going out to, Taylor Klaus, who says incredible content as always. Damn right. Gumby and I are the best. I agree with Taylor on our YouTube channel. Thank you, Taylor. Thank you, everyone else, for tuning in. We are back with another regional MMA event. Cage Warriors, they have jumped across the pond again. They're setting up shop in California. They're home away from home. And we are breaking down their event that's coming up this coming Friday, Cage Warriors 182. So Friday, a busy day. We got this is a 9:30 start. Invictus starting a half hour before that. So it's going to be a multi-screen night for all you degens out there, but you can handle it, I am sure. Who am I? You may wonder. I am King of the North, Taco Fox. Just one half of this dynamic duo. The other half would, of course, be Daniel Gumby Vreeland, who is up a whole buttload of money on regional MMA this year, which is not really a surprise. Hello, Gumby.
It's not really a surprise, but we are quite a bit ahead of last year's numbers, which is good. That means we're honing in on something special. I believe with the success from Octagon this past week, and a little bit of success from LFA, we wound up with 2 fights canceled, which kind of wound up being one fight canceled and one ended with an ugly eye poke. So we were only 2-1 in LFA, which, not all that fun. But we wound up being up to 37 units now. So that elusive 40 units, which we cracked for a brief moment and then dipped underneath. Maybe this is the weekend we get over it for good.
All right. We shall see. We shall see. So this is a Cage Warriors event, as I mentioned. They are in San Diego, which is basically the only other spot basically that they set up other than in Europe. So we're going to break it all down for you now. As I said, it's a Friday event, and we'll give you Gumby's 5 top picks on the night, and then of course the patented lightning round. Before we do all that, I have to remind you, download our app. That would be the SGPN app. It's completely free. And you have easy access to all our shows and all of our picks pages. And of course, all of our great articles. Gumby is up buttloads of money on his NBA first basket bet. So check it all out on our app, free wherever you get your apps. Thoughts on this card? Is this a typical US Cage Warriors card?
No, it's much worse. I don't mean to be mean, but they had a Roberto Hernandez fight get canceled. That was supposed to be the co-main event. Originally, Anthony Orozco, who is main eventing this, was supposed to fight somebody. I can't remember who it was, but it was somebody who's like 15-9. Now he's fighting somebody who's 2-1, which is, some real riveting stuff. There are some really terribly made matches for this. I think last week I was talking about how great the matchmaking is in Octagon. This would be a counterpoint in terms of matchmaking. This would be some bad matchmaking. And I think some of it is circumstance. I don't even blame Cage Warriors. Like, they don't have their full complement of fighters because they don't want to fly them all the way across the pond. And then in addition to that, too, like, just, fighter after fighter fell off. So they're ragtagging a card together, and it sure looks like it.
Yeah, I didn't even realize about the short notice person. I'm just doing all his stuff up right now. I still had the original opponent in the main event. So this must have just happened, right?
And it happened before I sent you the list of ones that you were supposed to have prepped for.
Really? Okay.
Yeah,
I think the Tapology strikes again. I think is what the problem was.
I did tell you to use the Cage Warriors page. Yeah, the Cage Warriors page always
pay attention. Just like you're my wife, I don't listen to anything you tell me. So that's the way I roll. Don't worry, we can do it on the fly. Everything is under control. So let's get going. Cage Warriors 182, December the 13th, Friday the 13th. They're running in San Diego at Sicuan Casino Resort. 9:30 start time. 11 fights. And as I said, Gumby's picked the 5 that he's most interested in, and we shall go from there. No odds yet. Odds will probably drop in a couple of days, usually midweek type of thing for Cage Warriors. As I said, they want to hear where Gumby sits before they put solid lines out there. They want to get taken to town from people, taken to the cleaners. All right, we're starting off with a 160-pound catch weight fight, I assume you would call that. On the main card, Teddy Stringer from England, Darren Smith Jr. from the United States of America. 3 5-minute rounds if they need it. Hollywood Smith is 26-13. So he has 39 fights. His opponent, four pro fights. You don't usually see. Usually commissions don't allow discrepancies this wide, but here we are. 26-13, 9 knockouts, 5 submissions for Hollywood Smith. He's been knocked out 4 times, submitted 3 times. This is his debut in Cage Warriors. He has won 4 straight fights. He's not lost since December 2022. He is a regional champion. He went 1-1 in Bellator. 2010 pro MMA debut, 0-1 in karate, 0-1 as a pro boxer. Stringer, not much to say. 4-0, 1 knockout, 3 submissions. All those fights are taking place in Cage Warriors. He owes his rounds as well. Damn it. 13 years younger than Hollywood.
Yeah, so I think Stringer's going to come in here as a favorite. 4-0, clearly the prospect they're excited about. He's a training partner, Anthony Orozco, who's headlining the card. So, I think they're kind of trying to package deal, hype both of them up. And like Darren Smith's got tons of experience, like you said, like 39 pro fights, but like he's got like a very clear journeyman's record, right? And, mixing a bare knuckle boxing match or a regular boxing match or, like karate combat. Like he's just one of those guys who will take any kind of fight you give him. So like, there's no way he comes in as a favorite against this like touted prospect, but you have to imagine the 4-0 record versus the 39 pro fights. Like it could keep the number down. I wouldn't be surprised to see it right around 200, maybe negative 220. And I'm going to take Teddy Stringer, obviously. Like if you watch him fight, like the hands are adequate. Like there's not too much to like write home about. Like he clearly, that's the part of his game I'd like to see him round out more. Putting together better boxing combinations and stuff, but like his hands are mostly a means to an end because he's got like, really good takedowns. He does a good job of getting to the hips. And then on top, his jiu-jitsu is really sharp. Like his way of moving through guards, getting himself to like mounts or rear mounts so that he can finish the fight. Like he does a really good job of all those things. So I like Teddy Stringer a lot. And in terms of like what Darren Smith can offer him, like Darren Smith is a guy who like most of his punches are like kind of clubbing blows. Like he doesn't do a good job of getting his shoulder behind the punch he's throwing. So like any extension he has is kind of like both A, puts him off balance, and B, doesn't have a lot of power behind it. And then in addition to that, in his last fight, he got taken down like in the first couple minutes or something like that, but with like a really terrible shot. So for him to get taken down by somebody who's quite a bit worse than Teddy Stringer in terms of grappling, I imagine he's going to get taken down early and often in this one too. So give me Teddy Stringer. Hopefully we get him at a number that will make him easy to throw in parlays.
Throw him in a parlay. A callback to the early days of the podcast. All right, we're moving up one fight on the card. Another main card fight, 170. Bobby Winther, United States. Blake Perry from the U.S. as well. 3 5-minute rounds, 170 pounds. Perry's the nature boy. Woo. 2-1, 1 submission. He's been knocked out once. 1-0 in Cage Warriors. Win over his last 3. His last fight was back in March of 2023. He's not lost since July 2022. 1-0 in Bellator. 2-0 in as a pro kickboxer, 5 inches taller than Winther. Winther is the ghost. 2-1 with 1 knockout, 1 submission. So a couple of newbies here. Never been finished in a fight. 2-1 in Cage Warriors. So all his fights have taken place in Cage Warriors. 1-1 as a pro grappler, 2 years younger than Perry.
So I think Perry's going to come in here as a favorite because Winther is coming off of the only loss in his career, right? He's 2-1. They're both 2-1. So you got to imagine the lines will be close. Winther did fight for Cage Warriors, which helps. But also is coming off a loss. So I'm going to say Blake Perry, slight favorite. We'll say like negative 135, like a plus 115 on the return for Winther. I'm going to take Winther. I like certain parts of Perry's game better. Like I like, he's got like a really, it's basic, but it's like good for somebody who's 2-1 as a pro fighter. He's got like a nice 1-2 that he throws and is starting to like, be able to build off of that and add other pieces to it as he continues to get better and better at striking. And that's all well and good. However, that goes way out the window when he gets tired. In his only loss, which was 1 fight ago, first of all, he lost by having his nose broken in the most brutal fashion I've ever seen. It's disgusting. It makes any. I'll send it to you. It'll be in the Discord even before this episode airs. And then you guys will be like, "What's that doing in the Discord?" And I'll be like, "That's Blake Perry's nose." You'll know what I mean on Monday.
Even worse than Brandon Vera back in the day. Remember that one?
Way worse. Way worse. I will send it to you soon.
Oh boy, I can't wait.
It will appear momentarily in the Discord. With that being said, like in that fight, he really tired out early in the fight. It was the first round. His arms were down at his side. Like clearly, anytime he puts a ton of energy in, and he does use a lot of energy because he likes the takedowns, his striking goes out the window. His good 1-2, any of his combinations go out the window. Winther is not as good at striking, but his jiu-jitsu is really good. And in addition to that, I like his wrestling a lot better. If you watch Perry, he's a guy who, when he goes to get those takedowns, he grabs really low on the legs. It's almost like he's trying to get your knees, which really allows a lot of fighters to like limp leg out, and then he's wasted a bunch of energy. Whereas Winther gets right underneath the hips, like hand underneath the butt, like doing all of the like good fundamental things. And then he's got better jiu-jitsu when it gets there anyway. So I'm going to take the guy with better jiu-jitsu and some cardio in Bobby Winther, and hopefully as a ever so slight underdog.
All right. Hopefully, speaking of underdogs, let's transition into underdog fantasy. Underdog Pick'em as one of the biggest menus for all sports. They got all the sports: NFL, college football, college basketball, MMA, NBA, NASCAR, and more. And you can now win up to 1,000 times your money with Underdog Streaks. Underdog is always making it easier to win with profit boosts and gimme pick'ems. And you can now use specials of boost on all flex entries. Gumby has a pick for you right now, I bet.
Yeah, Cowboys playing on Monday Night Football tonight. I'll take Rico Dowdle's rushing yards. He is broken out a little bit since the Cowboys went on this little win streak, and I expect more from him again tonight.
All right, there you go. He is a homer, though. Do realize that. Sign up for the code MMA SGPN to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. That's underdogfantasy.com. Promo code MMA SGPN. We're also brought to you by Rebet. Rebet is a new social sportsbook available in 45 states. There are plenty of betting opportunities available on Rebet. It's easy to use and great for people in states where traditional sportsbooks may be restricted. Download Rebet in the App Store and use the promo code SGPN for 100% deposit match up to $100. That's Rebet, promo code SGPN. All right, back to San Diego.
Hey, if you check out the Discord, it's in there now.
Oh, great.
I just put the comment on. This will make sense later to you guys.
I will after I tell you about Xavier Vines and Raul Navarrette, both from the United States. A couple of more newcomer to the pro MMA scene. They're fighting at featherweight, and they're on the main card of this Cage Warriors event. Let's tell you about Navarrette first. Zombie is 2-0, 1 knockout, 1 submission. He goes his rounds. Damn it! This is his Cage Warriors debut. He used to fight at 155. That would be lightweight. A year younger than Vines, 2 inches taller. Vines is the professor. 3-2, 1 knockout, 1. He's been submitted once, so he hasn't finished anyone. He's won 3 decisions, and he's been stopped 1 time via submission. 2-1 in Cage Warriors. He's won 3 of his last 4, including his last fight. He used to fight down at bantamweight.
Do you not get that nickname, Professor?
The Professor Vines?
So close. Professor X.
Professor Xavier is from the X-Men, right?
It's the X-Men reference.
There
yeah. I assume Navarrette will be a favorite in this fight because the records, just records looking like that. But Vines has fought some good competition, and he's been in Cage Warriors. So I think we're probably looking at not as steep a lines as you might think. So like maybe negative 175 for Navarrette and plus 150 for Vines. And I wouldn't be surprised if shortly after opening, the Vines side got bet up into being a favorite. This is one of those ones, if you're with me, with Xavier Vines, because that's who I'm picking in this fight. If you're with me on Xavier Vines, time is of the essence in betting this line. I don't think you can bet the Xavier Vines line come fight time because I think it will have gotten bet up into an ugly spot and you will wish you'd gotten on dog money. Because like if you watch Navarrette, if you get any of his film out there, like he is very, very, very upright in the way that he strikes. I don't know if he comes from a Thai striking background, but that's the only excuse I could have for standing in the way that he stands. He is a taller guy for the weight class, but like he stands very upright, hands kind of lower. With that being said, he generates incredible power. I've seen one of his knockouts, and he absolutely face planted the dude he was striking with. but because he's so upright, I think he's susceptible to takedowns. I've seen some of his takedown defense kind of hold up by just being like a tall guy, but I think that's probably against like a lower level of competition. And like Vines, yeah, he's 3-2. His record doesn't look great, but that doesn't mean he's not a good wrestler, because as you mentioned, all of his wins have come by decision and they're grinds. That's the type of fight he brings. He brings that grind. And I think he's going to bring it again here. He wastes no time getting to the wrestling. He's not one of those people who dawdles around by like throwing 100 jabs, hoping he like convinces you that he's going to strike and then surprises you. He lets you know what he's going to do. He's going to shoot takedowns and he's going to try to tire you out. And with Navarrette being as tall and as, like I said, stationary, stiff-legged, whatever you want to say, I think Vines is going to have an easy enough time taking him down. So I expect Vines to win 2 out of the 3 rounds. In an absolute grind here. And hopefully, if you get to the books early enough, he'll be a dog.
All right. There you go. So Vines is the pick. The professor is the pick.
What do you think of Blake Perry's nose?
Yeah, it's pretty. I'm distracted by it. Yeah, it is. Yeah. It is Brandon Vera-esque, but yeah, it's far.
It's pretty gross. Yeah, it's pretty gross.
All right. So you think Vines will open as a dog, and then you think
I think he'll open as a dog, but I think it will be that for an hour. Yeah, I think the books will do that based on Navarrette's record, and it won't last.
All right, cool. Very, very cool. All right, so get in on it. All right, we are going up to the next fight, which is a featherweight battle between Damon Wilson and Ryan Lilley. They are both at the United States 145. Lilley is the Lion, 12-10 with 1 no contest. He's been knocked out 5 times, submitted 6 times. He has 5 knockouts and 6 submission wins. He himself has been knocked out 3 times and submitted twice. This is his debut in the Cage Warriors. 1-3 with 1 no contest over his last 5. No contest came in his last bout. He went 1-1 in Bellator. He's a regional champ. Used to fight down at bantamweight. Wilson, the Nomad, is 7-2 with 4 knockouts. He's been knocked out once. 6-2 in Cage Warriors. Lost win over his last 4. Used to fight at bantamweight as well. 4 years younger than Lilley, 3 inches taller.
I'm kind of hoping Damon Wilson's recent results keep him low enough to be bettable. I don't think they will, though. I think this is going to be like -550, -600 on Damon Wilson, and that's obviously who I'm picking here. Ryan Lilley, by the way, I did a little deep dive on him. He has fought some people. Like, if you look at that record, if you do like a Tapology deep dive on this guy, he has fought like kind of an incredible level of competition for a dude who's, just kind of puttered around the regional scene. But with that being said, Damon Wilson's biggest problem for me and why he's been losing fights is that when he strikes and he goes to close the distance, he like almost overcommits to rushing forward and like crashes into the clinch. Doesn't always wind up with like good positioning in the clinch because he's like accidentally entering the clinch. Thought he was going to strike and then he just kind of got too close and he just grabs onto people. And like, that's a problem against good wrestlers. That's a problem against people who, have a good Muay Thai background. That's a good problem against, people who throw, hard elbows or good counters or whatever it might be. It's not a problem against Ryan Lilley, because if you watch Ryan Lilley, anytime somebody has like, rushed him, anytime somebody has like tried to like blitz him, his defense is that he like sticks his hands out and basically tries to push you away. So like, for me, you see that sometimes with grapplers who like probably should have just stayed in the jiu-jitsu realm, but they make slightly less money that way. And that's kind of what Ryan Lilley is to me. So I think the problem for him here is that like the worst thing that Damon Wilson does is accidentally get into clinches, and Ryan Lilley's worst thing is actually going to help keep him out of those clinches, right? Like he's going to be trying to push Wilson away, and Wilson will just be able to land like a 3 or 4 punch combo. I don't really think there's much more to it than that. Like, I mean, Wilson could wrestle if he wanted to, but like, I think he's not going to want to be on the ground with Ryan Lilley, and his defensive wrestling should be good enough to stay off the mat. So I expect Damon Wilson to kind of blitz him, freak Lilley out, and eventually catch him with something.
All right. And what's the number again? I'm so distracted.
I think -500. You're still looking at that nose?
No, it's in my brain though. No, I don't find it that gross, but yeah, it's pretty gross.
It's pretty gross. -500, -600, somewhere in that range.
For Wilson, right?
Wilson.
Yes. Yeah, yes, of course. All right. I'm back on track, people. All right. Before we get to the main event, let me tell you something about mybookie.ag. We are brought to you by them. Mybookie.ag MyBookie has been running on SGPN for a year, so you can check out their new and improved website. It's great on mobile. Plus, props for every game and the live dealer casino. Even new early cash out options are available. Check out all the MMA lines there. And when you are at mybookie.ag, use our promo code SGPN for 100% deposit match up to $1,000 plus a $10 casino chip. That's mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN. And SGPN's proud partner, Rhythm, is the #1 AI-powered sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds and get predictions for betting on moneyline spreads, totals, and props. Build your own model, copy one of the top performing models from the leaderboard, or have Rhythm build you a model. You can now track props in the Rhythm app. NFL picks, NFL props, college football, college basketball, and NBA. Rhythm has it all. Do they have Al Horford player props? You damn right they do. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. And we are to our main event already, ladies and gents. It's a makeshift main event, though. Don't get excited. Anthony Orozco, U.S. Dominico Salas, U.S. as well. 3 5-minute rounds, 170 pounds. Salas is the guy who just started here in the UFC, in the Cage Wars. Just started fighting, basically. Well, I guess both these guys technically have. He's 2-1. He has knocked out one person. He has submitted one person. I don't think he has been stopped himself. No, he lost
that
a
was
decision
because
fight.
I just watched it to have a reference.
Yep. He has not fought since he lost the last fight, and that was back in September of 2022. He's not won since June of 2022. He's fought one. He fought once in LFA, so that's something. 1-0 in LFA. That was back in 2019. He did some bare knuckle boxing, BKFC. He did win that fight. That was back in September of this year. Won that fight via knockout. So that's something as well. That's pretty much all I got on this guy. What else do I have on him? He actually, let me tell you about his opponent first. Okay, he's basically being. Is he do you say he's the training? No, he's not a training partner.
Yeah, he's a training partner with Teddy Stringer. Him and Teddy Stringer training.
Okay. Yep. So last minute they had to put this dude in. How short notice is this fight before we move on? Do you know?
I mean, Orozco is scheduled to be the main event because like they like Orozco. He's from that area. So like,
yeah,
I think they had planned on having him in the main event the whole time. And then Salas, I want to say, came in 2 weeks ago, like maybe 14 days ago.
Okay. Got it. All right. So that is Salas. Not much to tell you about him, unfortunately. Maybe Gumby knows more. Who's to say? Is he younger? No, he's definitely not younger either. Let's tell you about Orozco. He is 4-0 with 3 knockouts. All those fights have taken place in Cage Wars. He's 4 inches taller than Salas, 10 years younger by the stuff I can find online. And that's it. Not a lot on either of these guys.
Yeah, it should be negative 1,500 on Anthony Orozco. I was like, well, clearly they would have had to find a good replacement to watch him. And like, no offense to Dominico Salas, like that's what I thought, and I was wrong. Because I watched his last fight, which he lost, which by the way was 2+ years ago. They couldn't find anybody who's fought in the last 2 years at welterweight in California. That's wild to me. Like even no offense, even Blake Perry and Bobby Winther, both of those guys are welterweights earlier on this card, and I think they both beat Dominico Salas. Like honestly, like I think both of them are better. I watched Salas fight. I watched that loss. Like just gives up, super easy takedowns, way slower on the feet. I don't really know what else to say. And Orozco has good wrestling. My only issue with his wrestling is that like when he decides it's time to wrestle, he goes right to wrestling, even if he hasn't closed the distance yet. And that could be a huge problem, like the higher level of competition he faces. Like his original opponent might have given him trouble with that. This guy shouldn't give him trouble with that. And then when you add in too that he's got like, he's got like fun sidekicks, and he clearly either has a Taekwondo background or took really well to Taekwondo when he first started training. Like Orozco should have no problem piecing Salas up, and probably will still just take him down and beat him up there. So Anthony Orozco, by any method he wants, negative 1,500.
There you go. All right. So you're set on that. Let's give you a recap, and then Gummy can give you any of his lightning round picks. Orozco, Wilson, Vines, Winther and Stringer are the picks. All right, later on, Zap Bang Boom Pow. What else can you possibly get from this fight card, Gummy?
Johnny Robles is fighting James Settle. Last I checked, and this card seems to keep getting blown up.
Yeah.
James Settle is a guy who, sometimes I think I've backed just because his jiu-jitsu is fun enough, but I think Johnny Robles here avoids the jiu-jitsu, takes kind of an easy fight. So I'll take Robles. The other one I'm going to take, guy making his debut, Luis Fernando Medina. I was able to find some footage from his Andy days as well as his Muay Thai days. Generates a lot of power, maybe doesn't look terrible, like his hooks are kind of wide because he's loading up on shots and stuff like that, but he generates a lot of power for his weight class. So I kind of like him in a fight against the guy. So he's 0-0 making his debut. He's going to be fighting a dude who's already 1-0. I like him a little bit better, so you might be able to find like a really playable number on him too. So once again, that's Johnny Robles and Luis Fernando Medina as my 2 lightning round picks for this week.
All right, now you are all set for Cage Warriors. And for Invicta, yesterday's episode, so your Friday is sorted out for you. If you want more of us, and of course you do, we're at in the Discord, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord, where you can see gruesome photos that Gumby likes to post there.
They're in there. Just got to dig now. Just got to dig.
Yep. What else can you do? You can check us out, of course, on YouTube, Money MMA Gambling, the podcast on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe there. You can check us out on the Twitter, SGPN MMA. He's Gumby Breland. I'm Jeff Fox Writer. I'm the same on Instagram. Money MMA would be my Substack. I have my last pick'em contest of the year running. Check it out at moneymma.substack.com. Gumby's got Top Turtle MMA podcast. It is jam-packed with interviews this week, right?
Yeah, Fernando Padilla from the last UFC fight card of the year, as well as Natalie Salcedo and Ashley Barrett from Invicta.
Ashley Smashley. So check it all out. And of course, we're at sportsgamblingpodcast.com, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon to get some extra content. Gummy's going to bid you farewell till tomorrow.
All right, I'm Dominico Freeland. He's Professor Jeff Fox, and we will see you tomorrow.